Bonjour à toutes et tous, bienvenue dans Art et Marché, l'émission qui vous ouvre les portes du marché de l'art. Et pour l'émission d'aujourd'hui, après Bâle, Miami, Hong Kong et Paris, Art Basel a choisi Doha pour son implantation dans les pays du Golfe. La première édition de cette foire vient de fermer ses portes et nous allons tout de suite échanger avec deux acteurs du monde culturel de la région, Alfredo Cramerotti qui est curateur, directeur du MARCHÉ Museum, et Aronda Scalera qui est curatrice indépendante. Ils vont nous donner leur point de vue sur cette édition inaugurale. C'est parti pour Art et Marché. Les 87 galeries provenant de 31 pays ont attiré 17 000 visiteurs à Doha pour cette première édition d'Art Basel au Qatar. Pour dresser un bilan de cette première édition, je suis ravie d'être en visio avec deux acteurs culturels de la région. Alfredo Cramerotti, qui est curateur et directeur du musée MARCHÉ Museum, et Aronda Scalera, qui est curatrice indépendante. Thank you both so much for accepting this interview. Aronda, we'll start with you. Can you first give us your first impressions of the fair? What stood out for you? What are your initial impressions of the fair?
Thank you, Sibyl. Yes, I mean, the first overall feeling is a strong sense of not just another fair, but is a fair that is going to break all the rules of the other art fair for many reasons, actually, because Doha is a small city, so that fair, Basel Qatar, put together all the people from around the world without, difference. So all the people could talk with each other, can gather with each other. Because for that reason, Doha is a small city. Basically, you can talk with all the people that you want, with galleries, with artists, with museum director. And that's for us is exciting because, for example, if you are in another art fair, you have to travel between a place and another. And Art Basel Qatar is a walkable city and a walkable art fair.
Alfredo, how about you? Do you have a similar point of view? How did you live those 5 past days?
I thank you for having us, by the way. I would agree with Aronda that it was a contained art fair across 2 venues and a number of public spaces and within and around them. And the fact they got it right, I think it was the vibe, generally speaking. It was a very relaxed, not hectic vibe. The quality of the artworks were substantially high. Every gallery presented one solo artist, and the display solution and the installation presented, they were really, really remarkable. So in a way, I thought it was mirroring or aligning, let's say, with the general vibe of Doha as a city, which, as Aronda mentioned, is not a metropolis, is 2.5 million people, something like that. And it's about it has a certain elegance to it. It has a certain flow. It's people are not rushing around, and that was mirroring in the fair.
Alfredo, were you aware of the presence of museums? Were there an institutional engagement? Could you feel that from the region or internationally?
There was a lot of institutional engagement. First of all, Qatar is, and Doha in particular, is a city where the institutional framework is very solid, is very present. There are about 11 different museums plus 4 in construction. So, and you have a lot of curatorial team and directors and head of operations and CEO already on the ground. The MENASA region was very, very represented from Dubai to Sharjah. I kind of We talked and engaged with the president of the Sharjah Foundation, the directors, Dubai institutions, Abu Dhabi institutions, Riyadh, a representative of Ministry of Culture and different commissions from the Ministry of Cultures, as well as a strong presence of Asia institution, specifically Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Seoul. And some European as well. I mean, in European they were present more curatorially than leadership, I would say. Few Americans, for what I've spotted, but all in all, the institutional presence was noticeable.
And I wonder, from your perspective, can you speak about the presence of the collectors and maybe the dynamic that there was between them and the galleries?
Yes, I mean, there were many galleries, not as the other art fair, because Art Basel, for example, Miami, bring their 300 gallery, more or less. In this case, was a small art fair just with 83 galleries. Was like an art fair that is kind of a gem, okay? So all the galleries, they seem connected with each other, and all the exhibition there didn't seem as a cell exhibition, but as a huge biennial, as a huge exhibition connected with each other. That was another characteristic, completely different from the other art fair. And the galleries were all of them, they were enthusiasts, of course, because they could talk in deep with all the collector, and even because here there is a new market. So there are a new type, a new kind of collectors. They'd have to be educated because the market here, they just started with this fair, and the taste even is a bit different. So Art Basel and with many dealers, they are trying to bring artists from the global south, in principle, from the global majority, because obviously they want to be represented in this country.
And Aronda, more broadly, how would you describe the artistic scene? So it was only solo shows, as I understood. Did you find interesting artistic tendencies? Was it very strong regional identity or more international?
There was a strong original identity. Artists like Sumaya or Sofia Maria are all artists that here in the region, they are very well known. And there were some public installation from them, not just inside the fair, but even spread about around the city. So they are trying to promote their artists. There were even international artists as Bruce Nauman and other big names, but in general, it's very well represented in our Basel Qatar, all the global majority.
Are you aware of any sales? Do you know how was the dynamic, the economical dynamic?
Yes, there were 3 tiers of dynamic. One was general collector, so people that can buy one-to-one with the gallery. And then there are institution, museum that they are going to buy from the art fair. And then there is the royal family that they are going to buy by themselves for their private collection. And theme that is working, primarily museums that they bought many artwork and even a royal family.
Alfredo, so to what extent is the presence of Art Basel important in the Gulf market? Would you consider it a milestone towards a greater structuring, visibility, long-term depth of the art market of the region?
Definitely, it's an important event. It's an important piece of the jigsaw, because you do have Art Basel here in Qatar, where there is already a very strong institutional framework, and since 70 years almost, since the founding of the first national museum here. And then you have Freeze, kind of a presence in Abu Dhabi in November. You have Art Dubai, of course. You have other fairs. Something will happen in Riyadh soon. And you have all the collectors and institutions, not only from the Menasa, but also from Turkey, for instance. There was a lot of presence in Turkey. And as Rhonda was mentioning, the three tiers are very present, with the proviso that some of the acquisition by royal families has actually then rechanneled through those national museums as well. So let's not forget that, because some of the museums are independent in terms of the acquisition, some of them are government, and their collection is built through that royal channel, so to speak. I think it's important to establish an ecosystem for the contemporary art market. So you do have the big numbers, the big sort of hits in terms of price point, and then you have the medium and you have the more local ones. So all in all, I think is developing on a very healthy basis.
Yes, so you would say that because it's quite young in comparison of the other market, so you would say there is a depth that's building in a healthy way.
Definitely, it is. It's for sure. I mean, and the galleries we have spoken, or at least I've spoken to, some of them they had sales to private, some of them they had sales to museums, some they didn't have many sales, for instance, but they were very happy to and positive about positioning themselves in the region with the roster of artists. That's also something that it's important to notice, that Art Basel is a huge brand in the contemporary art world, and with the brand came visibility, comes other brands association. There were, for instance, a few events, big events from fashion houses and technology corporations that were completely outside Art Basel, and they were scheduled to happen during the Art Basel Day, but they were not part of the program. They were not associated with brands, and so they recognize there is some sort of a value in terms of the people around this type of fair.
Thank you so much for both of you for your time, for sharing your points of views. Alfredo Camerotti, you're a curator, director of media, Magidis Museum, and Aronda Scalera, you're an independent curator. Et merci à vous toutes et tous de nous avoir suivis. C'était Après Marché pour cette analyse de la première édition d'Art Basel Doha.